Good morning and welcome back to Immigration Asked and Answered. I'm Sabrina Reich.
And I'm Danny Rizzo.
And today we are going to discuss more of the changes under President Trump as they relate to immigration.
Okay, so we're going to talk about one additional executive order to the one we discussed on our last segment. So President Trump has ordered the Department of Homeland Security to put an end to all categorical parole programs that are contrary to the policy of the U.S. as established in the executive orders. That order specifically mentioned parole programs for Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans. So there is a broad parole authority in the Immigration and Nationality Act that gives DHS discretion to grant a parole to an individual if there is a humanitarian basis for it or if there is a significant public interest in doing so. And what the executive order calls out is the use of that parole authority on a group basis as opposed to an individualized determination. Now, all these parole programs that are applied to groups do require individuals to submit an application for the parole individually, and that has to be adjudicated. So there is an individualized element to those determinations. The executive order also did not specify which categorical parole programs are contrary to the policy of the United States, so that is left to interpretation by the Department of Homeland Security that is tasked with implementing it.
And could change at any time.
Right, yeah. And then coupled with this, there was another executive order and also a Federal Register notice that ordered the expansion of expedited removal to the full interior of the United States for anyone who's not able to prove that they were lawfully admitted or paroled to the United States or physically present in the U.S. for over 2 years. Now, what is expedited removal?
So, expedited removal is a process that allows immigration officials, typically you see it at the border, to expeditiously remove someone on the spot and not having to go in front of an immigration judge and be granted admission or even having to deal with the detention aspect. It is not subject to any sort of judicial review or appellate process. It is just a unilateral decision that can have someone removed from the U.S. and them issued a 5-year bar from returning. It is especially concerning that within the text of several of the executive orders and things that have come out since last Monday is the Trump administration's desire and intent to utilize other government employees that are not just immigration officials or working for the various immigration-related agencies, including potentially IRS officers. So having someone who is not familiar with immigration rules and regulations to have this broad authority to act as jury, judge, and executioner is deeply concerning.
Now, what happens if somebody lawfully came into the U.S., say a person from Haiti under this categorical parole program, so they were paroled into the U.S., say their parole grant is terminated under one of these executive orders, are they now subject to expedited removal?
That's what the Federal Register notice is trying to insinuate. I mean, it's tough because the plain language of the statute that authorizes expedited removal says for individuals who have not been admitted or paroled. So it's unclear how if they cancel a large parole program, how then you could put someone into an expedited proceeding versus if you were to revoke the status and have them just go to typical removal proceedings under INA 240. So it would be a tremendous injustice to have someone who went through the process to properly obtain this parole and then to be removed without any sort of hearing and then be barred from returning for 5 years. They haven't done anything other than utilizing a parole that was offered to them by falling into one of these special categories.
Which has a humanitarian basis, right?
Yes, like I mean, like Haiti, for example, the embassy accounts they're not even open. So I've had several clients who are waiting for their immigrant visa interviews, and there is just no mechanism for that to happen, which is why this parole program was created.
So, as with many of the other changes that were announced last week, we don't really know yet exactly how they're going to be implemented, but we will be tracking these issues as they unfold.
So that, and I think in many ways the government doesn't know yet how they're going to be implemented. The executive orders come to them like anyone else, and they have to figure out then how to implement them. So there'll be we anticipate lots of changes, lots of moving parts, and so it's going to be important to stay current with all your information. That's what we're here for.